Hehe, cannons go. This is my latest Crow Castle Infinite Colony setup using town archers, or well, town cannons as the main damage dealer. I will be going through this build today in this video. I also show some minor changes I can make to this and some tips you can maybe try for yourself as well. So I'm just gonna start by showing you a battle first. My current Infinite Colony ratio is around 8 for this account. So the red number on your Infinite Colony divided by your total wave stun gives you your Infinite Colony ratio, and I must say that running ratio of 8 is nice, but especially if you are an early and mid game, running that high ratio is not required for you to be able to progress. So don't bash yourself if you can get lower ratios than that. Like if you can run 3 or 4, that's completely fine, you will be able to progress. But as you can see, my build is running in a way where the cannons are constantly bombarding, laying siege on the enemy tower. They will absolutely want to destroy it, and the rest of my units are basically just making sure no one gets out alive. So everyone stays on top of the castle as much as possible. They will all be just blown into pieces by this setup, and that's basically the core idea of the build. There's Bowmaster and Sarah doing a little bit of damage as well in here, and the healing is done by Stos and Dark Elf. Especially Stos is really important for me in terms of healing, because I have very great cooldown items. I will show you all the items as well in a moment after this one, and I will do also some variation run for this setup before doing that. But I will also go through that, and of course go through the skill tree and everything like that. So that was the battle plus 20 skip done on Infinite Colony. The results of the battle looks like this. So town cannons just burps going and doing everything basically. Well, not everything, but 63% of the damage done by the town cannons, and then Sarah and Bowmaster are helping a little bit. Bowmaster is also here to give the passive attack speed boost to Dark Elf. This gives you more healing, so that's why you will want to have Bowmaster or Dark Lightning Archer in your setup as well, just to boost the Dark Elf's attack speed. Let's go through the items first on my town cannon. So I'm running a double fire damage attack speed E item, which is absolutely banger of an item for the town cannons for this, because the town cannons are of fire type, so you can use actually fire lines for your town cannons and they will boost. Of course, normal damage percent lines would also work, but the fire ones that roll a little bit higher. And same in here, I have double critical damage with a CDE line, so also a very solid item. If you are in earlier game and you can't get E items, you can just run S tier items with double fire damage, double personal damage, double critical damage, or a mix of whatever of those you can get. That's not an issue for you if you want to try this on lower levels. And then I'm running the Fire Orb, which is only for the fire type heroes for this game, but it actually does work on the cannons as well. So this is an option you can do. Another option for you to use would be the Orb of Power. And now the differences are not very high, at least for me, for my testing. So I would say test both options and see which gives you the better results. It might also depend on what lines you have for the items, but for me, the Fire Critical Orb is a little bit faster than the Power Orb. The differences are really small, but it's a little bit faster. Then one easy change you can try and make for this setup, in addition to just trying different orb, is also trying different set of treasures. So this is currently what I'm running here for this setup. So I have the Cursed Knife to boost the town cannon's damage, gives me a lot of critical chance. And then I have the Power Claw to boost the damage even further, and also the Sharp Arrow. The Sharp Arrow together with the Cursed Knife is a little bit of an overkill, because you don't really need a 20% critical chance when you are running Cursed Knife. Because I will show you, if I take this off and I go check the stats of my town cannons, their critical chance is 85% already. And when you cast Dark Skeleton during the battle, you will get plus 20% critical chance for the town cannons. So you will be at 100% critical chance anyway. So equipping the Sharp Arrow at plus 20% is basically wasted 20% for this. But it also gives your heroes critical chance plus 10%. And for me, getting this 10% critical chance for my heroes makes the runs a little bit faster. It also gives me more healing for my Dark Elf as well, so help me in that way. This is one thing I want you to test for yourself. If you run the Cursed Knife, is it worth running Sharp Arrow? You can try using a more defensive treasure like the Red Potion, for example, or you can try maybe the mechanic giver or something, some else treasure in this spot. But for me, it's a little bit faster going with this one while still having a lot of defense, a lot of healing for my setup. Now, the variation you can run in here is to use the flame bow, which will give you a lot of archer damage instead of not critical chance, but also just pure damage. So this will also work for your town cannons, and when you do this, now the critical chance of your town cannons is much lower. So it's only 45%, even when we are using the sharp arrow. Now, to boost this setup right now, like this, is slower for me than using the cursed knife. But if I equip the black pearl instead of the unicorn shield, I can get a secondary leader, and I can get solar in my build, who will give 15% critical chance for fire type units. Now, this 15% critical chance will work for the town cannons. So now their critical chance is 60%, and when you cast Dark Skeleton, it's 80%. So with this setup, my runs should be a little bit faster, but the healing is worse because I don't have the Unicorn Shield in here anymore. I'm gonna show you a battle using this setup. Let's see if we will win. And you should be able to see that the healing will become a little bit more scary, like the HP will start going back and forth a little bit more than with the previous setup, because we have lower defense overall for this setup. But I would recommend just out both of them. Use a timer and see what is a faster setup for you, or if you can survive with the other one, but you can't survive with the other one, then it's an obvious choice, of course, and so on. So do your testings, which setup would be a faster one for you. For me, this is a little bit faster, and I will probably keep on running this setup until I fail, and then switch to the critical, the more cursed knife setup for this build. But do your tests, and of course, you can also try using different hero combinations. We will talk about that in one moment after this battle is over. We are able to win. The HP is a little bit more scary. I did level my castle a little bit before going to the infinite colony, so I'm still on the safe side using both the setup. But here are the results of this one. So it's the same thing. The cannons doing most of the damage, and then again Sarah and Bowmaster doing some as well. Now, some of you might notice that I don't have Succubus in this setup, and I don't have Zeus in my setup. So basically, the two highest level heroes I have on this account are not in this build. Now, you might wonder, like, why? Why would I leave them out? Like, why would I not include them and make my build stronger? And the reason for that is another thing I want you to try for yourself. But both of them, Zeus and Succubus, especially Zeus, they hit the enemy castle very little. They mainly just keep on clearing the normal monsters. And as you can see, I have no struggles with the normal monsters. So equipping like Succubus, for example, on my build, I can do that. And it's potentially maybe gives me like 1 second faster run. However, it makes my healing so much worse because Succubus will be destroying the normal monsters, so Dark Elf can't hit them that much. I won't be able to heal as much, and it won't make my build better in that sense. So you could try including Succubus in here, but for me this is just better. It's more stable while having pretty much the same clear speed than with having her in. That's kind of makes me sad because I would like to get that gold for my setup, like to be used in the infinite colony as well. But hey, it's fine, it works, so that's good, I guess. Other hero change things you can try for yourself is, for example, removing Ice Windy and using the Mech Ram or some else crowd control unit in here. So you could use Mechanic Ram, for example, no problem in this shot. Especially if you are in early game, Mech Ram will likely be better. I have relatively low cooldown, so in this sense, running the Windy is better for me because I can get a very high uptime for the tornadoes. But if you can't get that with higher cooldowns, then using a Mech Ram who has a constantly applying crowd control is probably better. So test that one out. You can also try another witch in here as well. Alice would be a nice choice. Maybe you can try Slingers as well. Test for yourself which works the best. But let's go through the rest of the items on this setup. So I'm just gonna go and show these like this. So if you need to take a closer look on something, just pause the video. If there's something interesting, I will then discuss it a little bit more. But these are my setups. As you can see, I'm running... Well, this is a very suboptimal item. That should be changed actually. But yeah, I'm running a lot of cooldown skill level +1 lines. Those items are extremely strong. So DCD IQ on both items. So this will give me a lot of healing. That's why I'm highly relying on Stos to heal me during the battle. My POV stat is 5.9 for this setup. So yeah, I will be getting a lot of healing from Stos. And if you have a higher cooldown, then you will have to probably rely more on Dark Elf, which means you have to level up Dark Elf on a little bit higher ratio to be able to survive. But again, you don't really need to get to ratio of 8, 9 or 10 or anything like that. You can easily progress even with lower ratios, so don't be depressed if you can't reach the high ratios that you maybe see other people having. It's not the most important thing in life. It's not gonna be making your build fail and so on. So just do as much as you can and just keep on waving. That is my recommendation. To be able to run Windy, I do have the Tornado +1 rune in here, just to get the 4 tornadoes, better than 3 tornadoes, obviously, and just some minor stun lines. Could be a lot better items for Windy as well. The Dark Hunter is in here to give the haste buff to the cannons, because unlike the normal town archers, the cannons don't have the haste buff on their own, so you will need to have Dark Hunter in your setup if you want to do that. And my Sarah is just running the same items as I do in my Bavings as well. You could also try removing Sarah and running like Styro in here, but that's a little bit slower for me. I tested that, so again, something you can try. And Solar is just using CDE lines, nothing else really matters. She shouldn't die if you can contain the enemies. If you cannot, then you have to get better crowd control. So for the skills, I have 27 +1 CDE lines for the build, and let's go through the skill tree, which is, well, I have a lot of points. I also have a lot of unused points, as you can see, because you don't really need that much points with the town cannon setup. Mainly I have the poison tree that buffs Sarah, and I have the physical tree that gives me, well, Bowmaster, and also my Dark Elf more healing, so I have just everything in here because I have so many points. And then the town archer section, obviously, to boost the town cannons. So these are the most important things you want. Then in the ice tree, the sword node, and more damage to frozen monsters, more damage to slowed monsters, and also the tornado run. If you run Windy, you will want to have the tornado duration +1 second over here, just to have more uptime for the tornadoes. Again, you can run Mechram, for example, instead of Windy, so no problem in there. In that case, you won't be needing those nodes. In the fire tree, I just have the sword node, and in the lightning tree as well, since I don't have Zeus, for example, I just basically need the sword node and then the extra damage to stun monsters in here. And in the physical tree, I mean the summon tree, it's a witch node, which gives me more damage per witches. That's why we have Dorothy in here, and just the sword node as well. So that's basically what you need for this skill tree. If you have any questions regarding the skill tree or some nodes, why they are or are not taken, leave a comment below. I will be very, very glad to give you an answer. But that's currently how my Infinite Colony setup runs. Again, I would recommend highly that you do testing for yourself. Switch out one crowd control hero to someone else, because that can be night and day difference for your survivability. Or try different treasures, try different items if you can for your town cannons or town archers, and so on. And just test for yourself which setup is the fastest. I did like 50 different +20 skips when I was testing and timing, which works for me best currently with my setup, with my items. So do your own testings, but these are decent tips I think you can try. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the Discord. The link is in the description if you are not there yet. I'll see you in the next one as well. Bye bye!